The U.S. Supreme Court has blocked the Biden administration's order extending the federal eviction moratorium to a large swath of the country, in a decision expected by both legal scholars and the White House. The ban on evictions, a 2-month order, was issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The pause covers parts of the United States that are experiencing what the CDC calls substantial and high spread of the coronavirus. The unsigned decision from the court was 6-3, with the court's 3 liberal justices dissenting. The court's majority said the CDC exceeded its authority with the temporary ban. The majority opinion says that the CDC for its order relied on a decades-old statute that authorizes it to implement measures like fumigation and pest extermination. It strains credulity to believe that this statute grants the CDC the sweeping authority that it asserts, the majority writes, adding, if a federally imposed eviction moratorium is to continue, Congress must specifically authorize it. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the administration is disappointed by the decision. As a result of this ruling, she said in a statement, families will face the painful impact of evictions, and communities across the country will face greater risk of exposure to COVID-19. Thursday's decision was all but written in June when the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision, allowed an earlier moratorium issued by the CDC to stand. At that time, Justice Brett Kavanaugh sided with the majority but wrote that he did that because the moratorium was set to expire in just a few weeks on July 31st. Back then, Kavanaugh, who cast the 5th and deciding vote, also wrote that he voted not to end the eviction program, because those few weeks will allow for additional and more orderly distribution of the funds that Congress appropriated to provide rental assistance to those in need due to the pandemic. But Kavanaugh said that in his view Congress would have to pass new and clearer legislation to extend the moratorium past July. And despite a last-minute effort in Congress to do that, lawmakers didn't have the votes. Congress has approved nearly $50 billion to help people pay back rent and avoid eviction. But while in some states and counties that's been working well, in many others the help hasn't reached the vast majority of renters who need it. By one estimate, 15 states still haven't managed to get even 5% of those federal dollars out the door to renters facing eviction. With the Delta variant of COVID surging in many parts of the country, the CDC issued a more limited eviction moratorium through October 3rd. This latest decision from the court comes just about 3 weeks after the CDC issued that protection.